There was once a woman who refused to submit, and for that, she was turned into a demon. Her name was Lilith, and depending on who you ask, she is either a warning or something far more dangerous. The truth is, Lilith doesn't come from one single story. She appears across ancient texts, whispered through myth, religion, and folklore. But the version most people hear begins here, with the story of Adam. Before Eve, there was Lilith, created from the same earth, equal, not taken from a rib, not made after, but alongside, and that mattered. Because Lilith didn't see herself as lesser. She didn't accept a role beneath Adam. She didn't obey. And when conflict came, she didn't stay. She left, walked away from Eden on her own terms. Think about that for a moment. A figure in one of the most foundational stories who chooses to leave paradise rather than submit. That kind of story doesn't sit easily. And over time, it was rewritten. In later texts, Lilith is no longer just a woman. She becomes something else. A night demon. A threat. Something to fear. She's said to wander in darkness, to harm children, to bring chaos. But ask yourself, what changed? Did she change? Or did the story about her change? Because when you look closely, there's a pattern. Figures who refuse control often become villains, especially when they are women. Lilith didn't obey. She didn't stay quiet. She didn't accept the role she was given. And so, she became something people were taught to fear. But even then, she wasn't erased. She remained. In amulets, in protective symbols, in whispered names meant to keep her away. Which is interesting, because you don't create protection against something that doesn't exist. For centuries, people wrote her name on bowls, on walls, on objects meant to protect their homes. Not because she was forgotten, but because she was remembered, feared, respected, still present. And over time, something else began to shift. People started asking, what if Lilith isn't just a warning? What if she represents something else? Something that was never meant to be controlled. Autonomy, independence, the refusal to shrink, the willingness to walk away, even when it costs everything. That kind of power can be uncomfortable. It doesn't fit neatly into rules. It doesn't ask permission. And maybe that's why her story survived. Not as something safe, but as something that lingers. Something people return to when they begin questioning the roles they've been given. You don't need to see Lilith as literal. You don't need to believe every version of the story. But you might recognize the feeling. The moment when something in you says, this isn't right. The moment you stop shrinking. the moment you stop asking for permission, the moment you choose yourself. That's where her story becomes something else. Not something to fear, but something to understand. Maybe even something to reclaim. Not through rebellion for its own sake, but through clarity, through boundaries, through knowing where you end and where someone else begins. And sometimes, that looks very quiet. It looks like saying no. It looks like stepping back. It looks like choosing not to stay. That kind of power doesn't always announce itself, but it changes everything. Maybe that's why her name never fully disappeared. Because once you recognize it, you can't unsee it. And once you feel it, you don't forget it. Small rituals. Quiet power. Magen and Moon. Where ancient symbols, ritual, and quiet power meet. If this spoke to you, subscribe and stay a while.